I'm Shannon Wolfson for BlueCloud TV, and today I am so happy to welcome Dr. Harsha Rajasimha, the founder and chairman of the board for the not-for-profit organization Indo-US Rare. Dr. Rajasimha, thank you so much for being with us. I know this is a very personal mission for you. So can you tell us a little bit about Indo-US Rare and how it got started and why it is so close to your heart?
Certainly, Shannon. Thank you so much for having me here. For most entrepreneurs in the rare disease space, it often happens to be personal. Unfortunately, someone in the family gets affected by a rare disease, which always comes as a shock, and that's what happened to me and my wife in 2012 when we had a baby born with the Edward syndrome. That's what got me into advocacy and understanding and learning more about rare diseases, specifically Edward syndrome, but 10,867 rare diseases have now been discovered. It used to be about 7,000 back in 2012. In the last 10 years, 250 new rare diseases have been discovered on an average each year, according to NIH, as the ability of healthcare system has increased to diagnose genetic diseases. And so when I came out as a postdoctoral scientist working at National Institutes of Health and FDA into the patient advocacy in rare disease, I was often asked, coming from my origins and ancestry from India, you must have a large population in India. How do we connect with more patients in India? They have been not engaged as much in rare disease research in the US and Europe, which predominantly where the funding has been. And so that was the genesis of founding the Indo-US organization to help bridge collaborations and connections between United States and India among various stakeholders of rare diseases.
So can you elaborate for us a little bit on what the organization hopes to accomplish and how you're making that happen?
There is a number of existing organizations that have been doing phenomenal work since the 1983 Orphan Drug Act of the US FDA. It's been 39 years almost now. So we are getting close to the 40th anniversary next year. And so we are looking to fill the gap that existing organizations have left out, which is engaging the Indian subcontinent, which is home to about quarter of the world's population,
right,
and increasing their engagement and awareness in rare disease research and clinical trials.
Mm-hmm.
That we have more than 1,000 orphan drugs that are meant to treat rare diseases that are approved by the US FDA since 1983. Mm-hmm. And those are not accessible equitably to all people across the world. And a majority of these drugs are developed in US and Europe. So we are trying to fill some of these health inequities by making more accessible to patients. The second is having a patient concierge service for any patient of Indian origin anywhere in the world affected by a rare disease can have a go-to place because they have not been thinking about where do I go for a genetic disease diagnosis or treatment unless it affects someone near and dear to them. And when it happens, they don't know what to do. And that's where we exist. We provide a technology-enabled concierge to handhold and help patients navigate their care coordination throughout the journey.
It's very important work. We know that. So can you talk a little bit about what challenges you're facing in this arena and more importantly, how you are working to overcome them?
The biggest challenge for us is identifying patients who are either diagnosed or remain undiagnosed with a rare disease for a long period of time. And there is various social stigma associated with self-identifying themselves as a patient with rare disease. And because half of the rare disease affect children, there is additional ethical and other considerations where the parents and legal guardians have an obligation as well. So identifying these patients is a big challenge, particularly from rural parts of India, which is 70% rural still,
right,
and other regions where language, culture is a barrier. So getting to these patients is the biggest challenge, and we are trying to address that through media outreach and awareness programs. The second big challenge is to sustain and scale this program on a more global scale, and beyond the Indian diaspora to other neglected, underrepresented populations, even within the US.
Mhm.
We have about 4.5 million people of Indian origin, and if you take all of South Asia, it's probably 7 million people living in the US, which is underrepresented in rare disease research as well. To sustain this, we need resources, collaborations, and funding. So we are addressing this through a corporate alliance program where
Mhm.
industry partners can contribute and be a member and participate and engage in connecting the dots and making sure they have a product that really meets the unmet needs of patients with rare disease.
Along those lines, I'd like to ask, how do you hope working with BlueCloud will help you accomplish the mission of Indo-US Rare?
In a number of ways, and primarily in getting the word out. Outreach. Blue Cloud it has a wide network of physician investigators across the world, and getting to help raise awareness among this community of research investigators, particularly those of color and underrepresented investigators, getting to know that we exist and our mission is huge. And that's a significant barrier still for us. And I think Blue Cloud can be a great value in that sense.
So, can you talk to us, Dr. Rajasimha, a little bit about the future of Indo-US Rare?
It's an exciting time, Shannon, for Indo-US organization because India, for the very first time, has a national policy for rare diseases and now has a budget of 50 lakh Indian rupees per patient affected by rare disease towards their treatment. This is huge. India has been neglected mostly by the biopharmaceutical companies in the Western world because it's not a market for orphan drugs. People cannot afford it. Now, the government providing this kind of a budget has really opened up amazing opportunities for patients and for investments from gene therapies and other promising treatment options that can not only be discovered and developed in India, but also engaging patients an opportunity to enroll in clinical trials and be part of that new revolution. So the future of Indo-US Rare is really to advocate both to the Indian legislative and executive branches, as well as the US legislative and executive branches. We have a rare disease congressional caucus here on the US Senate and Congress, as well as India caucus, where we are looking to see how we can strategically increase collaborations between the two countries, not just among patient groups, but also among industry, clinical research, and manufacturing.
Finally, where can people go to learn more about you and about Indo-US Rare? And importantly, if they want to help you, if they want to get involved in their mission, your mission, how can they do that?
I'm relatively easy to find, Shannon, on online with Harsha Rajasimha on either LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, any of those channels. But they can go to indousrare.org. That's our website. Again, it's indousrare, one word.org.
And we're going to have a QR code to take them straight there. So hope to make it very easy. Dr. Rajasimha, it has been such a pleasure. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your efforts, sincerely, what you are doing for many communities. And we wish you the very best in the future.
Thank you for your collaboration and having me today.
Thank you so much. And now it is your turn to become part of the BlueCloud family, where we save time, save money, and save lives. Let's make a difference together.